Happy Saturday. Good morning, New York Jets Nation. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining where I reside here in Buffalo, New York. Oh no, I said it. I know. Born and raised on Long Island, but went here for college and I stayed. For the affordable cost of living, the chicken wings, and the woman of my dreams loves it here, so this is home now. And, it's tough, especially since the Bills have been good. People bring up football. I kind of have to ignore it, right? But every once in a while, I'll see someone in Jets gear. Oh, it's an amazing thing to see. A couple weeks ago, I saw a guy in the grocery store in a Wayne Chrebet jersey. I was like, man, got to talk to this guy for like 3 hours. It's a beautiful day. We're talking draft still. Last couple videos I made were about wide receiver, offensive line, positions we know that the Jets are probably going to be looking into in the NFL draft. However, I want to talk about 4 positions of need that we all kind of know are positions of need, but have been put on the back burner a little bit with Jets offseason talk. And we need to make sure we address these positions. Let's jump right in. Number 1, running back, Michael Carter, steal in the 4th round. Tevin Coleman, surprised me, solid running back number 3. I like to bring him back as. That leaves us a running back short because I think Ty Johnson and LaMichael Pirine are replacement level players who aren't even guaranteed to make the roster. So I think now we want to look at either if we don't sign a free agent running back like a Rashad Penny, I want to make sure, I think the 4th round is a really good sweet spot to take another running back. Obviously, you're not taking a running back in the 1st or 2nd round. And I've seen a lot of mocks of us using our very last 5th round pick for running back or just waiting for the undrafted free agent class. And I'd rather not do that because I think right around the 4th round is where a lot of teams find good value in back. So if we wait till round 5, a lot of guys are going to be off the board. And I think in round 4, you can still get, one of the top 5 or 6 or 7 running backs. So I like that move. A couple names to look out for. Obviously, if we're looking mid-round, guys like Hall and Walker are gone. But I think Robinson from Alabama or Algier from BYU or could be some targets for the Jets to take with one of those 4th-round picks. And they're both bigger backs, 220 plus. I think we could use a more physical counterpunch to Michael Carter's kind of scat back ability. So I think we want to make sure we address running back no later than the 4th round. Next, swing tackle. So if we say we sign a free agent right guard, then we go edge rusher at 4. We want to make sure we upgrade at backup tackle. And I'd rather not sign one because it's really expensive to do so. If you think about it, entering this past season, George Fant started the season as our backup swing tackle, making $10 million. So that was, an exception kind of, but it does cost you $6-7 million to bring in a quality tackle as a backup. So I think if we could look at one of those 2nd round picks, maybe, or maybe no later than the 3rd round. I think the 3rd round could be a sweet spot again here to get an offensive tackle that could serve as our backup swing tackle. A couple names to look for in the 3rd round. Petit Fryer out of Ohio State University, Rasheed Walker out of Penn State. A guy I really like is Darian Kennard, Kentucky, who some people maybe project as more of a guard, even though he has the length to play tackle. He's a mauler. I like him a lot, and he looked really good at the combine. Looked like he dropped some weight. He's listed at 324, and he carries it well. Dude looks good getting off the bus. So those are some names to watch. I think we want to make sure that we have invested in the swing tackle position no later than round 3. All right, so we took our running back, maybe round 4, maybe swing tackle round 3. Now, here's a position I'd like to see us address in the 2nd round. That's linebacker. We all know our linebackers were awful next year, but watching these mock offseason, I'm seeing corner, safety, 2nd round, right? We just talked about offensive line, potentially all the way up there in the 2nd round. Maybe if we don't get edge rusher at 4, edge rusher in the 2nd round. But I really would like to make sure we spend one of our 2nd round picks on a linebacker. Quincy Williams is really fast, but he just is constantly caught out of position. None of the linebackers we drafted later in the later rounds were any good, at least last year. And Jarrad Davis was just an absolutely atrocious signing. And Quincy Williams, he had a poor year by Pro Football Focus and analytics standards. But I think if you watched him, he's still a really good linebacker. And I think he performed so poorly in those metrics because everyone around him was so awful. He felt like he had to do everyone's job. He's like, okay, I have to do the job of the linebacker next to me, to my left and to my right, and the safeties behind me because none of them can tackle anyway. So he was just trying to fly around the field and do everything he can, playing some hero ball because he had no choice. So I think if we get some people around him, he can focus on his job and his numbers will improve. So a couple names to look for in that second round. I think pick, if we were looking tight end 35, I think pick 38 would be a really good spot to take a linebacker. A couple names to look for there would be Christian Harris, Alabama. And he reminds me of a former Jet that's shared the same last name. Reminds me of David Harris, who is not a freak athlete and is probably going to be like just below Pro Bowl level, right? Like really good for 10 years, not quite a Pro Bowler, but really solid, reliable middle linebacker for 10 years. Christian Harris. I like that a lot. I like that move a lot. And then maybe he starts at one of our outside linebackers, and maybe if you want to save some money by moving on from CJ next year, he can slide in and be the Mike. Chad Muma, Wyoming. Like him a lot too. Again, he's a better football player than he is an athlete. Closes to the ball really well. You may worry about his length and coverage, but he reminds me of a division foe, and that's Matt Milano of the Buffalo Bills, who again is just a better football player than athlete. Really high football IQ, good closing burst, good tackler, solid starter. Leo Chenal, Wisconsin. Haven't watched a bunch of him, but his Pro Football Focus scores are off the charts. Above 94, he rated against the pass and the run. That's insane. So he's someone you got to consider if he's on the board. And I think that'd be a really good spot to upgrade linebacker. So if we bring back CJ, take one of these guys in the second round, and then maybe sign like a mid to lower level free agent. If you don't do that, I'm coming back maybe in the fifth round and taking another linebacker because that position was really rough last year. Really rough. Okay. So now we're looking, second round, we took a linebacker. Third round, we went maybe swing tackle. Fourth round, we went running back. Now let's look at our fifth round picks. I think we want to spend one of these fifth round picks on a kicker. And I know that's sometimes a little controversial because oftentimes maybe you'd want to do that with a seventh round pick that we don't have or wait for an undrafted free agent. But I think it would be worth considering using our very last pick on a kicker because you need to have a professional level kicker to be competitive. I mean, that should just go without saying. Like let's think about this. If before any game, any NFL game, we found out, oh, this player has been scratched and can't go. Besides quarterback, a kicker being out would probably move the line on that game more than any other player. Because if you now have to start, like we saw it with the Jets when they did all these experiments with these kickers, and then now all of a sudden they're passing on 45-yard field goals and having to go for it and having to go for 2-point conversions. And now you're looking at, oh, we're down by 3, but we still need a touchdown because we can't trust our kicker. Like, you don't want to be in that situation. And Eddie Pinheiro, I like bringing him back, but I want him to compete with a fifth-round pick rookie. Now, it's kind of a bummer because there is no Evan McPherson or Nate Bass, like a really top-notch kicking prospect this year. But I think maybe you just take one of those fifth-round picks and take the guy you like best and let him compete. And if that gets you a professional-level kicker, I think that's more valuable than, the backup linebacker maybe you would have taken in the fifth round instead. A name to watch is Parker White, who was 16 of 17 on kicks last year. He was above 80% 3 of his 4 seasons, and he did make a 54-yarder last year. Again, no elite prospects, but it's worth it to bring some competition in for Eddie Pinheiro to make sure we're solid at kicker. So those are 4 positions that I think the Jets should make sure that they address in the NFL draft. Did I miss any? Are there some names that you'd like to see added to this list that you think the Jets should consider? Let me know in the comments below, and go Jets.